Want to create skills like these in RPG Maker MZ? Today I'm going to show you exactly how the ARPG Core Plugin builds skills and how you can build your own. Hey everyone, welcome back to Pijman. If you've ever wanted to create dynamic action-based skills in RPG Maker MZ, the ARPG Core Plugin is your best friend, but its true power lies in a specific three-part system. Today I'll show you exactly how that system works and how you can master it. First, let's look at the skill categories that already exist. We have universal skills like Fire, Tornado, and Rock Thrower that can be used by both players and enemies. The skill logic is identical, only the user changes. Then, player-only skills, like the normal attack and thunder, are often designed with player precision and combo potential in mind. And lastly, the enemy-only skills, like Body Blow, might be simpler for AI to use or have different balancing. Whether it's a player's fireball or an enemy's, the creation process is identical. Let's break down that process. Every single skill in ARPG Core is built from 3 interconnected pieces. You can build them in any order, but the connections must be perfect. Step 1. The database skill. This is where you define the idea of the skill, its name, damage, MP cost, icon, and most importantly, its note tag. This is the critical link. You must add a tag like Action Fire Skill. This tag is the skill's unique identifier for the plugin. Step 2. The common event. This is the skill's trigger and controller. You create a common event whose name must exactly match the note tag from Step 1. If your tag was Action Fire Skill, the common event must be named Fire Skill. Inside this event, you'll activate the skill and crucially call the skill object that contains its actual behavior. Step 3. The skill event in Template Skills Map. This is the skill's physical body and life cycle. On a dedicated map often called Template Skill, you create a skill event. This event's pages define everything: its hitbox, movement, visuals, and lifespan. Think of it this way. The database creates the skill and gives it a unique ID with a note tag. The common event is the button press handler that shouts, "Use the skill with this ID." And the skill event is the actual entity that spawns, flies, and explodes. You can build these pieces in any order. But if the names don't match perfectly, or if the note tag, common event name, and skill event name aren't identical, the skill will break. This connection is everything. Now that we understand the blueprint, let's open the hood and look at a working example, the Fireball skill. Okay, so first, in the database, the Fireball skill has a note tag. Action. Fireball, that's the key. This tag tells the ARPG Core plugin, hey, when someone uses this skill, look for a common event named Fireball. Now, let's open the common event named Fireball. This is what runs when the player or enemy presses the button. Let's go line by line. Plugin command. Skill activation. This command is like a starter pistol. It tells the plugin, a skill is being used now, get ready. It can also run a chant common event if you want a casting animation. But here it's set to 0, meaning no chant. Plugin command. Create skill object. This is the most important command. It physically spawns the skill into the game world. Let's look at its parameters. Source map ID equals 10. That's our template skill map where all skill events live. Source event ID or event name equals Fireball. It's looking for an event named Fireball on that map. That name must match. Position specification equals forward. This spawns the skill in front of the character. Variable for storing made dynamic event ID equals 1. After creating it, the plugin stores the new event's ID in variable 1 so we can control it later. This section check the skill user kind if he is the player or an event. If skill user kind equals 1, that means it is the player. Else it is an event. And with it we can convert characters facing direction into an angle in degrees. RPG Maker uses numbers for direction. 8 equals up, 6 equals right, 2 equals down, 4 equals left. If the player is facing up, we set variable 27 to 0 degrees. If right, it's 90 degrees. If down, it's 180 degrees. If left, it's 270 degrees. This math is necessary because the next command needs an angle, not a direction number. Plugin command. Specify attack angle. This command takes the angle we just calculated from variable 27 and applies it to the skill event we just created. Plugin command. Self-variable setting. This is an advanced feature. Self-variables are data storage attached to a specific event instance. Here, we're setting self-variable ID 21 on our newly created Fireball event to the value in variable 27, the angle. This could be used later in the skill's own event pages to change its behavior based on its angle. Now let's look at the actual skill object named Fireball on the template skill map. This is the thing that flies and hits. It has 3 pages controlled by self-switches. Now let's examine the Set Hitbox plugin command, the heart of how your skill actually deals damage. This command creates what's called an attack hitbox, an invisible rectangular zone that, when it overlaps with an enemy, triggers damage and any associated effects. Inside the command, you'll see the hitbox list parameter. This is where we define the hitbox's exact size and position using simple coordinates. The width and height determine how large the damage area is. The X and Y coordinates shift the hitbox to center it perfectly around the event's origin point. If you want to see this in action, you can press F6 in-game to visualize all hitboxes. You'll see a red rectangle moving with your fireball showing exactly where it can hit. This system gives you fine control. You can make a skill feel tight and accurate or wide and sweeping just by adjusting these 4 numbers. Plugin command. Toggle map valid range check. This is crucial. Normally, events get erased if they leave the map's playable area. We set this to false to disable that check. This lets our fireball fly off screen, which is essential for ranged attacks. Next, the character collision X trio. These 3 commands define what this fireball can and cannot pass through. This is the collision filtering system. Set region through regions equals 1. This lets the fireball pass through map region ID 1. This is for terrain. Maybe you have a water region you want projectiles to fly over. Set through player equals true. This is for enemy. If an enemy casts this fireball, setting this to true means the fireball will collide and damage the player. If it were false, enemy fireballs will not trigger damage on collision. For a player's fireball, this setting is usually irrelevant. Set through event tags equals enemy. This is for the player. If the player casts this fireball, setting the tag to enemy means the fireball will collide and damage events tagged as enemy. This script call, this set enable wall slide false, turns off the .move system's wall sliding behavior for this event. For a fast-moving fireball, we don't want it to glance off walls. We want it to either hit them squarely and trigger our collision logic or not. Page 2 is the travel and lifecycle check for the skill. It runs continuously in a loop while the fireball flies. Its only job is to check, should I die yet? Plugin command. Check if the character is in the screen. This checks if the fireball's position is still within the visible game screen plus a 2-tile margin. If it goes beyond that, it sets switch 26 to off. We do this for performance. No need to update things the player can't see. First if branch, if switch on screen flag is off, meaning the switch 26 is off and the fireball is off screen. It turns self-switch be on, jumping to page 3 to die. Plugin command. Check if character is moved. Checks if the fireball has moved since last frame. If it's stuck maybe inside a wall, it sets switch 27 to off. Second if branch, if switch moved or not is off, meaning if it hasn't moved and it's stuck, turn self-switch beyond to die. Third if branch, if SO collision detection flag is on. SO stands for skill object. This is a special flag the plugin sets automatically when the skill's hitbox collides with a valid target. If it hits something, this flag turns on, and we go to page 3 to die. In summary, page 2 constantly asks, am I off screen? Am I stuck? Did I hit my target? If the answer to any is yes, it triggers the skill death by flipping self-switch B. Page 3 is the cleanup and destruction page. This page runs once when the skill needs to be destroyed. What we've covered here is really just the foundation and the essential lifecycle and commands that make a skill work in a RPG Core. It's your starting block. From here you can experiment and build far more complex behaviors, skills that chain, explode on delay, or apply buffs. This system is deep, and a lot of what I'm sharing comes from my own trial and error hours of testing, tweaking, and sometimes breaking things to understand how these plugins really behave. So take this as your blueprint. Use it, modify it, and don't be afraid to test. What works in my project might behave differently in yours. And that's the beauty of building systems like this. You learn by doing. And speaking of doing, what's next? Now that you understand the blueprint, it's time to put it into action. In the follow-up tutorial, we're building no more theory. I'll guide you step by step from a blank database entry to a fully functional custom skill inside ARPG Core. You will learn how to connect all three pieces seamlessly and create effects that feel truly your own. If you want to move from understanding skills to actually creating them, that video is for you. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Until then, try tweaking what we covered today. Change a hitbox, adjust a speed, break something and fix it. That's how you learn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.